When people asked Jesus about who to worship, how to worship, Jesus pointed towards God. In Matthew chapter 6 verse number 9, Jesus he showed that God should be the focus of worship. Even Jesus he worshiped God. It says in Matthew chapter 26 verse number 39, people were coming after Jesus, to get hold of him and to punish and to kill him. He went to the Garden of Gethsemane. Over there, he prostrated himself on the ground and he prayed to God saying,
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahilladzi arsala rasulahu bil huda wa dinil haqq liyuzhinahu ala dini kullihi wa kafa billahi syahida. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarikalah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu la nabiyya ba'dah. Berjumpa lagi dengan channel saya Mars Techno. Saya doakan semoga semua sahabat dalam keadaan sehat selalu. Pada video kali ini kami akan menampilkan bagaimana usaha dakwah seorang Dr. Sabel Ahmed. Beliau pada kesempatan ini remaja Kristen Amerika Serikat berkunjung ke acara open house masjid. Lalu terjadilah sesi tanya jawab yang sangat menarik. Bagaimana jawaban dari Dr. Sabel Ahmed? Nah sahabat, mari kita saksikan bersama-sama videonya. Dan saya hanya sedikit mereaksinya.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I just want to thank you again for welcoming us. I really appreciate it. This has been a great day. Like them, I have never been into a mosque before, so this was just a very interesting experience for me, and I really loved hearing from you all and going on the tour, and this was just a really great day. So
I really liked how introspective prayer is. So if you go to a Christian service, it's all about, your focus is all on the pastor, whoever's speaking, and it's not as mystical or as spiritual as being more inwardly focused and responding to the prayers, and kind of you're all together as a community, but each person as they're praying is very with themselves and God. And I know that's what you said before, but it's just very cool to see how different prayer is and service is compared to a lot of Christianity, where I think an emphasis on prayer is reduced, or it's not understood the same way. And I think this provides a lot of more deep access to something divine, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
Of course. So the way that you saw us pray, right? This is so unison, brotherhood, sisterhood. It gives a sense of community, right?
Yeah.
We are as one human family praying to one God. So this is a consistent way that mosques all over the world, Muslims all over the world, we pray the same way. Compared to suppose if you go to one church in one corner, they pray in certain way. If you go to some other church, they may have a different way of service. Some other sect of Christianity, they may have a different set of service. But we say that God is a God who wants to guide all of humanity, and He gave us guidance how to pray, when to pray, how to ask for forgiveness, right? So all of this is also an indication about the truth of Islam, that there is God and He wants the best from us.
Yeah. I also really appreciate how constant it is. So if you do that prayer, I don't remember how many times a day you said, but that means that you are always continually focused on God every single day. You really can't go a huge portion of your day with forgetting that is your identity, that should be your entire focus. And I think it's really easy in this culture, which is so individualistic, it's so driven outwardly. We're seeking money, we're seeking all the things we have to do in college for our career, that you can very easily get very lost and not practice spirituality in any meaningful way outside of a Sunday service, for example. But this is really grounds you to remind you that your whole life is centered around God. So I really did think that was very astounding. So I think very similarly to Christianity, as I have been taught, although this might be a misconception, Islam is patriarchal, and that's true of Judaism as well, and a lot of religious traditions. But you mentioned equality between men and women as being a basic tenet of Islam. But at some point you made a distinction and you said spiritual equality. So can you expand on what you meant by that? Because I'm really curious.
Sure. Because I mentioned spiritually right away, so people don't mix equality with equity.
Yeah.
See, in any system that we humans have to live in, there is always a hierarchy. Like in this mosque, there's a hierarchy. You have the imam, the resident scholar, you have the board of directors, then you have the common Muslims who come and pray. If you go in school and university, there's a hierarchy. You have the chancellor, you have the trustees, the board, right, the teachers, and then the students. Anywhere that you are, a society to function in a just way, there always has to be hierarchy and the roles have to be defined in the society. In the same way, a family system, which is the basic building block of any civilization, there is hierarchy. The father or the husband is the head of the household, so he's supposed to manage the financial need, the lodging, the clothing, right, and the protection of the family. The mother is equally responsible for the children and for the household. She has her own roles and responsibility, and they complement with the husband. Just because they have different roles does not mean one is superior and one is inferior. Father is the head of the household. He's supposed to consult with his wife, with the family members when he makes the decision. Correct? So both roles are important. So if the mother is fulfilling her role, she will get equal reward when the husband is fulfilling his role. Correct?
Thank you.
Any other follow-up on that?
I don't think so. The only thing that
Question you may ask any controversial as well.
Any controversial too?
have a question. Okay.
Sure. What's your name, brother? Brent. Okay. Can you make it better so all of us are covered? Yeah. So.
Yes, I actually have a question. As far as afterlife, what do you believe? You were talking about in your question and
यहाँ पे
answer.
रख लीजिए आप, अच्छा रहता.
You were talking about in your question and answer how you believe that we're not born with sin, unlike Christianity. So as far as the afterlife, what do you believe as kind of a, I don't have the words for it, but heaven or hell kind of thing?
Right. So we say that this life is a short life, it's a temporary life, 80 years, 100 years, right, around that time. But the life in the hereafter is for eternity. So we say that this is the testing ground. This is like a classroom. God has given us the instructions and He wants to see who is going to follow it, who is going to disobey it. So every single human is going to die one day, just like people before us, they passed away. But that's not the end of our existence. God is going to bring everyone back to life. So we believe in a day of resurrection and a day of judgment. Just like in the schools, we have the evaluation by the teacher, right? At the end of the semester, we say the grand evaluation for every single human would be on the day of judgment. And God is going to judge us on two important things. What kind of beliefs that we had and what kind of deeds that we have done. Okay? Easy, right? So if a person has the right belief, worshipping only one God, not attaching any partners, not worshipping humans and animals and idols and the creation, only submitting and worshipping one God, and then doing the deeds to the best of our ability and repenting to God each time that we fall short. So once we have the right belief and doing good deeds, God promises in chapter 2 verse number 25 of the Quran, He will guarantee those people eternal paradise. Alright, so we do believe in paradise, but we also believe in hellfire. Just like there's a failing grade in the classroom for the person who, I hope nobody gets it, right? For a person who does not attend the classes, is absent and does not do the assignments, the quizzes, the final, and does not listen to the teacher, there is always, a bad grade, a failing grade. In the same way, if a person associates partners with God, means saying there is God, but this person, this human is God, this idol, this animal is God along with God or instead of God, that is an unpardonable sin if the person dies like that. Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
So by that logic, And this are all Christians condemned to hell because clearly that's the basis of it, is that idea, right? That a human became God incarnate.
I'm glad that you brought that up, all right? Because, as a Muslim, I need to provide the criteria for a person to go to paradise. I mean, not me providing, I'm just sharing what the Quran says, right?
Yes.
So let me just complete this answer, then I will come to that, right? So we say that yes, so paradise would be a place in which God is going to bring us back to life in our body and in our soul on the day of judgment, and the person will be placed in the body and the soul in paradise. So paradise is a place of reward, means the wonderful bounties and the rewards of paradise is going to be forever. You'll have the reward for the body and reward for the soul, all right, in paradise. In the same way, hellfire is also going to be there forever, and we hope and pray that no one goes there, right? So now the question becomes, what about the Christians? Are they committing that unpardonable sin that Islam tells us to avoid? Generally, I would say yes, because the Quran says in chapter number 5, verse number 72, 73, 74 and onwards, that do not say Trinity, do not say three. Jesus is not Allah or God, and God is not Jesus. Anyone who keeps on saying and believing that, paradise would be forbidden for that person. It is like this. If you have a teacher in the class, instead of obeying the teacher, you're obeying somebody else. Or you're obeying the teacher, but somebody else is giving you instructions and you're equally obeying that, diluting these instructions. If you do that, you will not be extracting the best education to graduate, right? So God loves us. He wants us to go to paradise, and He gave us guidelines. See, worshipping of Jesus and taking Jesus as divine, Jesus never said that I am God or worship me. When people ask Jesus about who to worship, how to worship, Jesus pointed towards God. In Matthew chapter 6 verse number 9, Jesus, He showed that God should be the focus of worship. Even Jesus, He worshipped God. It says in Matthew chapter 26 verse number 39, people were coming after Jesus, to get hold of Him and to punish and to kill Him. He went to the Garden of Gethsemane. Over there, He prostrated Himself on the ground and He prayed to God, saying that, oh God, take this cup of death away from me, not my will but your will.
Masya Allah, sebuah video yang sangat interaktif. Beberapa remaja Kristen Amerika Serikat berdiskusi, atau lebih tepatnya tanya jawab kepada Dr. Sabel Ahmed. Diawali dengan penjelasan dari Dr. Sabel Ahmed mengenai Islam dan beberapa tata cara dalam sholat. Lalu disertai dengan tur keliling masjid untuk menyaksikan umat Islam yang sedang melakukan sholat. Mereka mengucapkan terima kasih karena telah diundang untuk mengunjungi masjid, karena ini adalah pertama kalinya mereka mengunjungi sebuah masjid di Amerika Serikat. Salah satu komentar mereka di acara ini adalah, ibadah ini sangat keren, cara berdoa atau sholat umat Islam, dan cara yang mendekatkan diri pada ilahi yang lebih masuk akal. Dikomentari oleh Dr. Sabel Ahmed bahwa sholat adalah cerminan persaudaraan yang universal, memberi rasa kebersamaan pada komunitas, seperti seolah kami ini adalah satu keluarga manusia yang sholat untuk menyembah Tuhan yang Esa atau yang tunggal. Ini adalah cara yang sangat konsisten dilakukan oleh umat Islam di seluruh dunia. Kami melakukan ibadah sholat dengan cara yang sama. Jadi jika kami melakukan sholat di Amerika, di Asia, atau di Cina sekalipun, gerakan kami adalah sama. Ini sangat berbeda dibandingkan dengan agama Kristen, yang jika Anda pergi ke suatu gereja dan membandingkan dengan gereja lain, akan sangat berbeda cara kebaktiannya. Dr. Sabel Ahmed mengatakan bahwa Tuhan ingin membimbing seluruh umat manusia dan Tuhan memberi kami panduan bagaimana cara sholat, kapan waktunya sholat, bagaimana cara meminta atau berdoa, bagaimana cara memohon ampun atau istighfar. Jadi semua ini juga mengindikasikan tentang kebenaran ajaran Islam. Komentar wanita lainnya adalah, kami sangat hargai bagaimana konstannya Anda saat ini dalam beribadah sholat. Anda terlihat selalu fokus pada Tuhan setiap harinya, yang menurut Anda 5 kali dalam sehari. Sepertinya Anda benar-benar bisa menghabiskan sebagian besar waktu Anda untuk sholat. Nah sahabat, mungkin ini saja sedikit video reaksi dari saya. Mudah-mudahan bermanfaat bagi kita semua dan menambah keimanan. Wabillahi taufik wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.